Hi everyone, it's Brittany and this is my channel where we like to talk about horror movies, everything we like and don't like about them. But today I want to talk about something a little bit different. I find it still to be on the horror topic kind of, but with this it's more of real life type of horror, which can be even more terrifying. So the topic is sleep paralysis. For those of you who don't know what sleep paralysis is, it is a temporary inability to move or speak while falling asleep or upon waking up. Common symptoms are paralysis, anxiety, or hallucinations. So there are a couple of causes for sleep paralysis. One being sleep deprivation. That's a big one. If you're not getting enough sleep, that can throw things off majorly. Stress, and possibly mental health conditions like PTSD, and I think I even read about bipolar disorder. I've also heard of this being mentioned as the old hag syndrome. Me personally, when I experienced sleep paralysis, I saw what looked to be somewhat like Slender Man kind of. Sleep paralysis was a big thing in my life for about a year or two. It was probably back in about 2017, 2018. Well, 2018 was probably the last time I experienced this, and to be honest, I was a little scared talking about this in the video today because I'm a little worried that this could happen again, but it's a risk I'm willing to take, I guess. In 2017, I was going through a lot. Like, every day of my life was a big crazy roller coaster. I was not getting enough sleep. I was definitely dealing with a lot of PTSD from a few years prior to this, and to not get into too many details, I had a lot of anxiety and depression. This time period was very hard for me, and it's no wonder this happened. Honestly, I would see my father when I was growing up. I had seen him going through it from time to time. I woke him up like I think at least 2 or 3 times from his sleep paralysis, and it was scary. Like, I didn't really understand what was happening. Just, you don't really fully understand it until you have gone through it yourself. And I've even recently learned that even my grandmother has gone through her own experience with sleep paralysis. She said that hers was a cat on her back though, a black cat. And that sounds super creepy. The first time I remember this happened to me it was weird because I didn't really know if it happened or not. I was totally alone and I was taking a nap in the middle of the afternoon, and I remember I was like kind of awake and I could not move at all. I was like so hot. I was struggling and it was really hurting, but all I could hear was like a weird heavy breathing. It might have been my own breathing, but I remember hearing that behind me. But of course I could not move my head. I could barely move my eyes enough to see just the side of me, really. I think I struggled so much and I was so exhausted that I just fell back asleep, and then I woke up not too long after, kind of like, was that my dream? Or did that really happen? I just kind of brushed it off, thought it was a weird thing that happened. It won't happen again probably. But I was wrong. It ended up happening several times after that. There was this other instance. This time I was not alone, and it was at night. And I was watching TV with, it was an ex-old boyfriend, and he was sitting on my bed while I was laying down, and I guess I dozed off, and out of nowhere I was slightly waking up, and I could see everything that was happening. I could see the TV was still on. I could see he was sitting somewhat behind me. But what was different was I felt something really cold, and I was kind of holding on to it. Like, I usually hold a pillow or something when I sleep, and I was holding on to this really cold thing, and then I was like looking down, and it was a hand. It was purple. It did not look human. Somewhat looked like what you would see a zombie kind of mixed with an alien maybe. It was so long that it was like pretty much up to my face, the hand was, and his arm was so extended, it went between my legs, and I could feel something behind me laying down right next to me breathing, and I was kind of screaming. Then my, whatever you call it, he started to wake me up, and yeah, I was like really shooken up, and I explained everything, and he was like, that sounds freaky, but nothing happened. Like, you were just, all of a sudden you were, I thought you were awake, but you weren't moving, and you were like freaking out. So that was like my second real experience, because I finally was aware that, okay, this is getting worse. It actually happened at least 2 more times. The last time it happened to me was so weird. This one was even weirder. I was tired of sleeping alone. I was scared, so I slept in the living room this night with my sister and my dad when I lived back at home. I was asleep first. They were still awake, and what I saw was, from where I was sleeping, I could see them standing kind of in the hall towards the kitchen, and it looked as if I was looking at them through a camera, like a really old, I guess like a Super 8 camera, because everything looked so different. And I could see them, and then it slowly started like zooming out, and I was like getting farther away. Everything was getting blacker around me, and I had a crazy reaction again, and I started screaming again. And my sister, she woke me up, and she's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And I told them what happened, and my dad was already like, again, like this just keeps happening. And then I was so tired this night, I went back to sleep several minutes later, and they were laying down at this time, and instead of that type of visual, it went back to where I saw this man again, and this time I could see him from the front, and he was dressed in all black. I couldn't really make out a face. He had a top hat that was casting a shadow over his face. Everything was so dark. I could just see he had almost like a glistening look to him, as if he were wet. He's standing kind of like in a squatting position, but his arms were so long, they're touching the ground and hanging, and he's just doing this scary breathing sound. Just looking at him with the side of my eye, freaking out, scared, and once again being really loud, and you could tell I'm really uncomfortable, struggling. My sister was so mad at me this time. She's like really forcing me to wake up. That was the last of it, I thought, for a while. It only happened to me one more time after I had given birth to my son. It was probably maybe a month or so that I had just barely gotten home from the hospital, and yeah, it happened again. If you've never experienced sleep paralysis yourself and you want to get a better idea of what it could really be like for someone, then I would highly suggest to watch The Nightmare, which is a documentary. It's explained really well with some dramatizations. Also, Dead Awake is a really good watch about 2 twin sisters. One of the sisters is going through sleep paralysis, and without giving anything else away, you should just watch it. It's good. So that's the end of our video here today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to be back sooner with another new video. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and give this a like, and drop down in the comments below if you have ever experienced this yourself, and something nice as well. Okay, goodbye.